2 young women shot in cold blood.
This is not random gunfire. It's directed at their heads. Now, that is a clear demonstration of intent.
We were stumped. It was such a bloody crime in a part of town that you really wouldn't expect that.
When police discover another victim, Lieutenant Joe Kenda may have a career case on his hands.
The public was very concerned over 3 women dead in that close a period of time. The coincidence is just so great.
I've always thought there's no such thing as a coincidence. They are always suspicious. They happen more than once, they become evidence. People don't like the police. They like firemen. They absolutely love firemen. They shoot at the police. They are angry with police because they're afraid of the police. It's the way things are. There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I'm Lieutenant Joe Kenda. I've solved nearly 400 homicides. Somebody has to take control. Somebody has to look out for the victim. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved.
January 8th, 1995. It's a sleepy Sunday night at the Lair Lounge on the west side of Colorado Springs.
There was a jukebox, and it was in use frequently. It was rock and roll, so it was loud.
Do anything else?
I'm good right now, babe.
I gotta take trash out. I'll be back.
A faint sound grabs the bartender's attention.
She heard what she thought to be moaning coming from the area of the back door.
Across town, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is spending his Sunday night honing his firearm skills.
I carry a version of a 1911 A1 .45 automatic built by Kimber of Yonkers, New York. I consider it to be the most accurate weapon I've ever fired.
But a page from dispatch tells Kenda that target practice is over. He's needed ASAP on the city's west side. The Lair Lounge is lit up like its last call, and so is the parking lot.
How you doing, Lieutenant?
How you doing? Who's the responding officer?
The officer with the coffee right there.
All right, thank you.
My habit is to speak to the first officer on the scene. He usually has the cleanest view and gets the greatest statements from anyone.
How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good.
You were the first on the scene?
Yes, sir. When I got here, there were 2 females over there, front seat of that car.
Once medical arrived on scene, they determined right away that the passenger was still alive and breathing.
They transported the passenger to the hospital, but she died. The driver, they pronounced dead at the scene.
The driver is one 29-year-old Michelle Vigil. She leaves behind a husband and 2 young sons.
Michelle was a good person, a kind person, a free spirit. Whatever happened in her life, Mickey had a mind of her own, and she always had such a quick wit.
I adored her. I thought, I just loved her bubbly personality, always smiling, You could be having a bad day, she could walk in the room smiling, and, you start feeling that way.
How were the 2 young women killed? To Kenda, the answer is written all over the vehicle.
A lot of blood. When I was 20 feet away from that car, I knew it was a gunshot. You are taking a bullet that's traveling supersonic, entering into the human body, producing a mist of blood called high-velocity blood spatter. The only thing that produces it are bullets.
When we got here, the doors were closed, but EMS had to open them up so that they could take care of the victims.
Let's hope they didn't disturb too much evidence.
Michelle Vigil has been shot in the head. Reports from the hospital indicate the second victim suffered similar injuries.
Were the windows rolled down?
Yes, sir.
Now, by the look of the wound, she was shot from the driver's side.
Police confirm Kenda's hunch. They've found 2 9mm casings near Michelle's body.
The keys are still in ignition. It's apparent that they were sitting in this car as if they were either preparing to leave or that they just arrived when shots are fired.
What no one at the scene can figure out is who would target these women for such a horrific crime, and why.
We were stumped. It was such a bloody gangland-style crime in a part of town that you really wouldn't expect that. The first thing you come up with was it money?
Studying the vehicle, Kenda uncovers the answer to that question.
So when I'm looking at this car, I see the windows are rolled down. They're not going to have the windows down on a January night in Colorado. But they would if someone approached that car to speak to them. This is no random act. This is not an attempted robbery. The purpose is to kill one or both of these women.
Somebody was angry at these women. You got to find out now why.
Kenda's in luck. It turns out patrol already has a friend of the victims waiting to be questioned.
When the first officer arrived on scene, he noticed a patron from the bar walk up to the victim's car.
Shirley, you need to get back. That's my girlfriend in there. There's help on the way, man. Just get back, all right? Come on.
The man complied, waiting anxiously for the paramedics to arrive.
There he's waiting right over there for you.
Kenda hopes the man can tell him more about the women in the car and why they might have been murdered.
Valentino?
Yeah, that's me.
Well, his name is Valentino Garcia. He knows both these girls, and they've both been murdered. He is very distraught.
The woman who died at the hospital is identified as 30-year-old Shirley Harper Swally. Divorced for several years, Shirley leaves behind 2 young daughters.
My mom was a very giving person. She always wanted the house to be full, and she always wanted fun things happening, and she always wanted laughter and things like that.
Just a very likable person. You can fall in love with her in no time. That's Shirley.
Can you tell me how you knew the victims?
Yeah, I know Shirley and Michelle.
What was your relationship with Shirley?
During the investigation, it was revealed that Valentino Garcia was kind of interested in Shirley and had wanted to date her.
In fact, Valentino says earlier that afternoon, Shirley and Michelle stopped by his house to hang out. He used the opportunity to make his move.
Shirley, I'm just wondering, maybe we can get together for some drinks sometime.
I would love that. I need to talk to Gino.
She said, well, maybe we can talk about that, but not right now. I have this boyfriend, Gino, and I've got problems with him.
She kept saying that he's controlling and possessive.
Really? Well, I like that.
You know, he's crazy. You don't know him, and I don't want anything to happen to you.
He's very jealous, and everybody's really worried about this, especially Michelle Vigil. She doesn't like this guy. She has a bad feeling about him.
Don't worry about Gino. I can handle that. I can handle him.
You're so sweet.
According to Valentino, Shirley seemed unsure of what to do, so she asked Michelle to talk things over at the Lair Lounge.
That's why I came down here to the Lair, you know, to meet up with her and just talk to her some more.
So now we have this interesting specter, this Gino. Mysterious Gino, possessive, scary kind of guy. Murders are driven by emotion. Emotion gone wild. What if he suspects that Shirley's potential romance with Garcia is in fact current?
Oh, we're gonna do everything we can to find out who did it.
That's Gino right there.
Well, how convenient.
Kenda takes one look at Gino and gets a bad vibe.
When I saw him get out of that van, All my alert signals went off in my head. Pay attention to this guy. Get a balanced position. Make sure your weapon is clear. You unconsciously do those things. You're prepared to either fight or draw a gun, because he looks like the kind of fellow you might have to do that with. We have 2 dead women, multiple gunshot wounds in a car behind a bar. One of these women has a jealous, confrontive boyfriend, and he conveniently arrives while we're still standing at the crime scene.
That's Gino right there.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda and his men approach Shirley's boyfriend with extreme caution.
When Gino got out of that van, he had the look. And when I say the look, I mean a guy who I think can take care of himself, that probably has a gun.
Gino, I'm Detective Kenda.
Let's find out, where have you been for the last hour or so?
I'm just looking for somebody.
Who are you looking for?
A friend.
Gino has obviously been talked to by police in the past. He is evasive.
Listen, we had a double shooting here. Someone you know got hurt, and you come pulling up out of the blue in my crime scene?
You know what all that adds up to, don't you, Gino? It adds up to one word: suspect. And that, my man, would be you. That got through to him, and he said, all right, I get it. Well, good, Gino. You have a frightening grasp of the obvious.
Where were you the last 3 hours?
I've been at a party.
And the people at this party will verify you were there? Give me the names and numbers.
Here's a pad, here's a pencil.
Gino writes down the names of the individuals he claims will vouch for him. As Kenda's men head out in search, Gino explains how he ended up at the crime scene.
He said, Shirley and I were supposed to have dinner tonight, and she was supposed to page me to tell me when to meet her.
He was concerned because he didn't hear from her.
Gino tells Kenda he got worried when people at the party started talking about a shooting at the Lair Lounge.
Word travels on the streets quickly. One person makes a phone call to somebody else, he makes a phone call to 2 or 3 other people.
She's dead, isn't she?
They transported her to the hospital. She didn't make it. I'm sorry.
Gino gets very emotional, very, very upset. Seemed to be pretty genuine to me. It really hit him that this girl is gone.
Meanwhile, Kenda's detectives report back that Gino's alibi checks out.
It's enough to convince me that I don't think he's the guy.
With Gino crossed off the suspect list, Kenda wonders if Shirley's ex-husband might somehow be involved.
When people become involved with each other, they're emotionally attached, they're married, they have children, and things go awry, emotions can become quite raw.
But it turns out Shirley's ex-husband, Sean Harper, lives an hour away with their 2 daughters and was at home with them at the time of the crime. Moreover, Sean is devastated by the news of Shirley's death.
Quite honestly, my very first thought was, how am I possibly going to tell my kids? At the time, Janelle was 10.
My father was sitting in the living room looking at me very intensely. The first thing that came out of my dad's mouth was, "I love you." And then he went in to tell me that some bad people had just gotten a hold of my mom and that she was gone. It was pure shock.
Explaining that to her was the hardest thing I've ever done as a parent, bar none.
Back at the Lair Lounge, Kenda puzzles over the details of the crime.
This is not random gunfire, it's directed at their heads. Now that is a clear demonstration of intent.
Your first thought is, was somebody upset with both of them or just one of them?
The odds are that 2 people cannot engender that kind of hatred and then be together and die for it. The odds are one is hated and the other had the misfortune of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Having largely ruled out the men in Shirley Harper Swaley's life, Kenda wonders if the driver, Michelle Vigil, might have been the intended target.
I sent 2 detectives to notify Michelle's family. A perfectly normal household that suddenly struck with lightning.
Yeah? I'm Detective Grant. This is Detective Freeman. Do you mind if we come in for a minute?
Sure, come in. What's this about?
There was a shooting this evening at the Lair Lounge. Your wife, Michelle, was killed.
She's 29 years old, and her life's been taken, and her husband is devastated by this. Absolutely devastated.
Mickey had 2 sons. I believe the older son was around 4, the younger was around 2 when they lost their mother.
I can't imagine what Ernie went through. And I can't imagine what her 2 sons went through. Can't even imagine, because to me, I think when a parent is taken away from a young child, it's got to be so very devastating.
I would think losing a mother at that age would be very confusing for a child, wondering why they don't come home, because you don't understand death, you don't understand, especially for the younger one, you know. It'd be more like, where'd my mom go? Why isn't she coming home? It's probably very confusing and very hurtful on why their mom was gone, not understanding. I couldn't even start to imagine what it'd be like to grow up without a mother, but if I had to imagine it, for boys, oh, it's got to be tough. Because they lost their mother so young, when they were so young, not knowing her, I would think, would be the hardest part. All you ever know her by is the stories. Maybe the older son had maybe a few memories at that age, but the younger one, just never knowing. All you ever know your mom by is by pictures and stories of other people.
As a mother, that's, you know, we want what's best for our children. We want to always be there for them. We want to be able to hug them and love them and kiss them and everything every day. And I cannot imagine what Ernie went through raising the 2 boys and having to tell them about their mother. Their growing up is with memories that their dad had, and is sharing with them, and pictures. And no one deserves that. No one deserves that at all.
Though Michelle's husband is shell-shocked, detectives must question him about her life, hoping to find the motive behind her murder.
She didn't live the lifestyle that I thought would have caused this to happen to her. It just didn't seem real.
Can you tell us about the last time you saw Michelle?
I saw Michelle this morning. She was gonna give her friend Shirley a ride.
He explained that Shirley's car had recently been stolen, and Michelle would give her rides and pick her up and take her places.
Michelle told Ernie that Shirley had been going through a tough time, so Michelle wanted to spend the day with her to cheer her up.
Mickey was always looking out for other people. She was a loyal friend. If you needed an ear to listen, she would be there. If you had problems, she would actually listen and tell you what she thought.
That's when Ernie Veal unloads a bombshell on detectives, one that totally changes their perspective.
Yeah, well, Shirley's been having a lot of problems.
What problems specifically?
According to Michelle, she's been struggling with some cocaine addiction.
Murder cases become enormously complicated when drugs get involved. Drugs are so powerful that they literally drive people to do things they would never otherwise do. You don't pay your source. You rip off drugs from other people. You do all kinds of things to get the drug you want to use. In the process, you leave a trail of prime suspects behind you.
While pondering this development, Kenda recalls something he saw on the news. A homicide in a county just northeast of Colorado Springs. It, too, was drug-related.
We have a young girl shot in the head in Elbert County. 4 days later, we have 2 young women shot in the head in Colorado Springs. They are similar cases.
Could Colorado Springs PD and the Elbert County Sheriff's Office be hunting the same killer?
When this girl is discovered in Elbert County, it's a UPS truck. He's out there in the middle of the boonies making a delivery somewhere and finds the body.
I smelled something. It smelled awful.
All right.
So that's when I looked over there and I saw her.
The victim was 24-year-old Sherry Holmes, who was also rumored to have drug problems. And like Shirley and Michelle, Sherry Holmes met a violent death.
She had 6 gunshot wounds to the head, Somebody is very serious about making certain she is dead.
But according to detectives in Elbert County, that's not all the killer did.
She was covered in several pounds of peanut butter, smeared over her body post-mortem. That is a Mexican cartel trick. They want the body disposed of, so they spread peanut butter on the remains to attract bears, coyotes, any other animal that will come and eat this body or drag it off where it's not going to be ever discovered or found.
There is strong evidence that Sherry Holmes was taken out by someone in the drug world, possibly with connections to Mexican cartels. Is it possible that same killer is behind the double homicide at the Lair Lounge?
I've always thought there's no such thing as a coincidence. They are always suspicious. They happen more than once, they become evidence.
If that's the case, then Kenda's killer is far more dangerous than anyone had realized.
We need to find this person. If he or she can do this, they can certainly do this again. At this stage of this case, we have two dead women, Shirley and Michelle. One of those young ladies has a drug problem. That distresses me because it widens my field of suspects.
The mystery only deepens when Lieutenant Joe Kenda learns that nearby Elbert County is investigating a similar shooting that happened just 4 days earlier.
The public was very concerned over 3 women dead in that close a period of time. The coincidence is just so great.
Like Shirley Harper Swally, the victim in Elbert County, Sherry Holmes, is believed to have had a drug problem. Kenda needs to find out if either woman had any enemies in the local drug world. To do so, he again calls on someone intimately familiar with Shirley's circle of friends, her boyfriend, Gino Jaquez.
Thanks again for coming back so soon. Do you know Sherry Holmes?
Is that the girl they found killed over in Elbert County?
It is.
Kinda. Shirley knew her, but I didn't really know her that well.
You know anything about her murder?
Oh, no. I just knew that she was a snitch.
How'd you know that?
Oh, just word on the street. I've heard that for weeks now.
As far as Shirley goes, was she using drugs?
Well,
listen, I'm just trying to solve a murder here.
she did have a cocaine problem.
He says that Shirley likes cocaine, that she goes on binges, and this has caused her a lot of problems.
Gino tells Kenda he's been worried about Shirley's cocaine habit. But he wasn't the only one. Recently, Shirley's friend Michelle Vigil had also been trying to get Shirley to quit using.
Every indication we had from Gino and from Garcia was that Michelle was offering advice to Shirley in not only affairs of the heart, but just in her life. To stop using drugs to the level she used them, to stop living the life in the way that she was. Michelle was a true friend, trying to aid Shirley in recovering from a difficult time in her life.
I'm here to help you. You can get over this. I know you can.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I'll stand behind you. You can do this.
I just can't do the drug thing anymore. I'm just tired. I need to do something for my kids.
You do. They want their mom back.
I know, my kids deserve it for sure. I miss them and I want to be with them, and
I know it, and I will help you.
I mean, I really didn't know that it was going to happen this way. I didn't know, when I moved with Gino, it wasn't this bad at first anyway, and then
I know. You just need to move on.
I know.
Find somebody better.
Mickey, I knew, would have done that. She would have been a good listener. She would have definitely, like all of us, I'm sure Mickey had her own problems, but she wouldn't have been the kind that would have brought up her problems and said, well, I don't want to listen to you, I've got enough of my own. Definitely not. She would have been right there listening and trying to help her the best she knew how to get through whatever she was going through. She definitely was a loyal friend. If you were her friend, you were definitely, she was always going to be beside you.
Any enemies she might have had? Any unpaid debts?
She does have a former boyfriend that was a drug dealer.
She used to live with this guy on the west side. His name is James Palachek.
Hey, I'm missing a couple of grams. Take it?
Just leave me alone.
Did you take it?
Yes, so what?
Look, if you take any, I need to know, and I need to get the money for it.
Leave me alone!
When Shirley left James, he claimed she owed him $2,500.
People will kill in the drug world over 20 bucks, let alone 2,500 bucks.
It's not a good idea to rip off drug dealers.
But according to Gino, James Palachuk had already settled the score with Shirley.
A couple weeks ago, her car got stolen, and we all know that he set that up.
It makes you wonder, is James a good choice for this? I mean, he's been ripped off, okay, he's mad. So what's he do about it? Well, he takes something from her. Maybe in his mind it's settled it. Does that still make him a suspect? Sure, but maybe somewhat less of one.
Well, again, I appreciate your help. Thanks.
As Kenda ponders Shirley's problems, he wonders how she wound up living life on the margins of the Colorado Springs drug trade. That question is best answered by Shirley's ex-husband, Sean.
I think Shirley's troubles began with the availability of cocaine. It was the 80s, and it was everywhere.
Drug addiction is a very equal opportunity thing. I mean, how many alcoholic housewives did I know when I was a little kid in the 50s? Unfortunately, she was one of those people that tries something and just likes it way too much.
What are you doing? This is not us. This is hurting our family. I mean, why are you doing this?
It's not a big deal.
It is a big deal. This is our
I'm
family.
only doing it once in a while, on weekends, just to have fun.
It's a big deal to me. I can see a change in you. The girls can see a change in you. This has to stop. You know, this is not us. And I don't want to tell you right now, if you do not quit, then we're through.
That stuff just overtook her life. It really just completely turned her into somebody that I didn't even recognize anymore.
I would see my mom on the weekends, and then that got less and less as obviously her problem grew into something bigger.
Drugs chemically reprogram your brain. All of your loyalties, all of your concerns, all of your loved ones, and everything you've ever been fades away into the past. All that matters now is the next high.
Later that night, Kenda checks in with his detectives, who've been questioning the patrons at the Lair Lounge.
How you doing? What we got so far? Well, nobody heard any gunshots or anything like that. The music was too loud. Hey, but get this. There was an argument between the two girls.
The victims?
Yeah, and another customer. And everybody heard that.
All right, is that the bartender?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, bar people are interesting people. They pay attention. They have very good instincts about human nature.
Can you tell me what happened tonight?
There were these two guys in here, Felipe Ortiz and Paul Palachuk.
They're drinking together, and across the bar are Michelle and Shirley, who are also drinking and talking amongst themselves.
It turns out that Paul Palachuk is the brother of James Palachuk, Shirley's ex-boyfriend.
Did Paul have a problem with Shirley after they broke up?
I think so.
But according to the bartender, Paul Palachuk wasn't the one causing trouble.
You just leave him. That's what
I
you
know,
do.
I know. I know what I need
It's
to
not
do.
that hard.
Yo, where the hell is my money?
Excuse me?
You owe Paul money. He owes me money. You owe me. Where is my money?
Listen, I don't have money. I don't know who you are.
She doesn't owe you money. She doesn't even know you.
Nobody knew what the argument was about, but they said it was pretty intense because Shirley was actually crying.
Look, buddy, I don't know what your problem is, but you're not going to cause a problem here. Go back to your seat or leave.
According to the bartender, half an hour later, Shirley and Michelle got ready to go.
The bartender remembers the girls go out the front door. Paul gets up and goes to the bathroom. And Felipe goes out the front door. Now, that is odd.
Did Felipe Avila Ortiz follow the two women out to the parking lot, then shoot them at point-blank range? Not according to the bartender.
The front doors of this bar are glass, but they're covered mostly with posters advertising what beer is on special today and that sort of thing. But the lower part of the glass is not obstructed. So when Felipe goes out on the porch, the bartender seems to remember that she sees his legs in the lower part of the door.
The bartender tells Kenda that a few minutes later, Felipe came back inside, and Paul returned from the men's room shortly after that.
Then they both decide they're leaving and they walk out the front door, and that's the last anybody sees.
With Paul in the bathroom and Felipe visible through the front window, it seems neither man could be the shooter. But Kenda's hesitant to scratch them off the list just yet.
Well, I appreciate your help, and everyone's free to go now.
Kenda instructs his men to track down Felipe Avila Ortiz and Paul Palachek. Along the way, officers uncover a disturbing new lead.
Patrol officer working the west side has a guy who comes forward to him who is a doper. His name is Jason Starks.
Hey, what can I do for you? I need some protection. What's going on? My life's in danger. I got information on those 3 murders.
According to Jason, rival drug dealers on the west side of Colorado Springs have joined forces to take out several customers.
There was great rumor on the street among people involved with the folks selling and the folks buying that there was a hit list of people who were in trouble with the sellers.
He said, I've seen the list. And Shirley and Michelle's names were on it. And that girl in Albert County, she was on the list too.
When you're getting information that there's a hit list out there and that 3 of the people that have been shot within the last week were on that hit list, you have to take it pretty seriously.
I don't think it'd be a good idea to not pay your debt to a drug dealer. These are serious people, and they do take care of business.
Graham.
Could there be a kernel of truth in there somewhere? Could there be maybe a small list that contains those 3 girls? Now that is possible. Could that work? I think it could.
For exclusive footage, go to investigationdiscovery.com.
We have a dead girl, Michelle Hill. Her friend Shirley Harper Swally is also dead. Elbert County has a dead girl named Sherry Holmes. Our informant says all 3 of these people's names are on a hit list.
Can you meet the detective at the diner in about an hour, the one up the street? I'm going to stay with you.
Yeah.
Is it possible that they're linked? Yeah, it is possible.
But in order to determine if this trio of homicides is the work of the same killer, Lieutenant Joe Kenda needs to talk face-to-face with Jason Starks.
Coffee, please.
Same. Officer, I'm really glad you're here. I'm freaking out, man.
Who are these guys, Jason?
The Mexican Mafia, dude.
Given the nature of Sherry Holmes' death in Elbert County, Kenda takes Jason's statements seriously.
Now, the Mexican Mafia is a street term applied to the Mexican cartels as a group. Now, are those people capable of murder? Oh boy. Yeah, they are. They not only do it, they like it.
But the more Kenda listens, the less believable Jason's story becomes.
You've personally seen this list?
Yes, sir.
How many names are on this list?
There's 34 names on the list, 20 men, 14 girls. Those 2 girls that got killed, they were on it.
I hear this story, and I'm just like, come on. It's not that the Mexican cartels are not capable of that. They don't write down, first of all. They don't make lists. They got them in their head. They don't contain 34 names at a time. They might contain 1 or 2. It's preposterous. And so is Jason.
Guys do not play. My friend told me about it. He stays in a hotel down there by the big green sign off North Nevada.
Jason.
He is higher than a kite. This is drug-induced paranoia.
Do you use meth, Jason?
Sometimes.
When drug addicts get together, they whip themselves into a frenzy of fantastic tales of how they are going to be the victims of former Russian agents in a whisper mode helicopter coming over Pikes Peak, and their whole mission is to kill them. It just goes on and on and on.
How many days you been up?
I'm not sure, man.
Did you use this morning? You used before I just came down here.
You need to get some sleep.
When you come down, think about this list some more. If you're still worried, give me a call. I'll come see you.
You have to talk to everybody, so we do, but then you have to make a value judgment. How valuable is this? In my mind, not at all.
With Jason Starks' story a dead end, there's still nothing connecting Kenda's case to the Holmes murder in Elbert County.
Why don't you go home for the night? I'm gonna head back to the bar and check in.
All right, Lieutenant. See you tomorrow.
As the sun rises over Colorado Springs, Kenda hopes his investigators have unearthed some additional evidence.
Hey,
Find anything else since I was gone?
actually, we found a lot. There were 2 shell casings on the ground next to the car. Apparently, they'd been kicked around by the paramedics.
Shortly after arriving on scene, investigators discovered 2 9mm casings. Now they've got 2 more shell casings.
Were they same caliber?
They were 25.
So that immediately tells you you have 2 different guns that are used in this offense.
So we got 2 shooters.
I think so.
It's not one guy with 2 guns who's running back and forth between these victims. This is simultaneous gunfire. To have 2 shooters involved makes this very, very interesting.
But the new pair of shell casings isn't nearly as telling as the next piece of evidence.
Come on, let me show you what we found in the bathroom.
There on the bathroom floor are blood-stained paper towels.
Was all that in the trash?
Yeah.
It was fairly close to the bottom of the trash can. It looked like someone had intentionally shoved it down into the trash.
Kenda is reminded of the movements of Paul Palachuk and Felipe Avila Ortiz just prior to the shooting.
You have customers saying the girls leave. At that point, Paul goes to the men's room. They think Felipe goes and stands on the front porch.
Could the blood evidence tie Paul and perhaps Felipe to the murder? Kenda has a novel idea.
The men's room door is right next to the back door. And the physical arrangement of this bar is the bartender and the customers cannot see the men's room door, nor can they see the back door to the bar by sitting in their normal position.
If someone wanted to exit out the back door, they could easily do that without being seen by people behind the bar.
So you could come and go however you wanted to. You have people saying that Paul went to the men's room. Are they lying? No, they're not lying. They're telling you their memory of the event.
My assumption is that Paul Palachuk went toward the bathroom, but he went out that back door.
Felipe goes out the front door. They confront the 2 girls in the car, shoot the girls.
Came back cleaned up in the bathroom and returned to the bar.
This revelation prompts Kenda to question the validity of other eyewitness statements as well.
You have a bartender who says Ortiz never leaves the front porch because she sees his legs. Well, are you staring at his legs? Or are you emptying ice out of a bucket, making drinks for people behind you, pouring 2 draft beers? We're back to where we were to start with, Felipe and our man, Paul Palachuk. So we're looking everywhere for these 2 guys. Why is neither one of you where you're supposed to be?
In speaking with friends and associates, detectives gained some valuable information about their 2 prime suspects.
Felipe is a middle-level drug dealer. He sells dope to the Palachuk brothers, who in turn sell it to customers. And then when they get that money, they repay Felipe.
That business hierarchy, coupled with the $2,500 Shirley owed Paul Palachuk's brother James, may explain why Shirley and Michelle wound up dead.
What if James owed that money to Paul and couldn't pay him? Shirley took it. What if Paul, in turn, owed that money to Felipe? Now that's something that works for me. Now you have drug dealers who have been ripped, and they can't put up with that.
Finally, 6 days after the double homicide,
officers see Paul Palachuk's car parked at a motel. They know he's there.
Police prepare to enter the motel with extreme caution.
There is no question this is an armed and dangerous individual, and you're going to take every advantage to not be hurt or shot or killed in the process of arresting this guy.
Police, open up! Police, open up!
Once you kill, it's just numbers after that. So when officers make that kind of arrest, it's with guns drawn.
What's your hand? Get on the door. Get on. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
Colorado Springs police have just apprehended Paul Palachuk,
Go ahead and search the room.
one of two men wanted for the double murder of Michelle Vigil and Shirley Harper Swally.
I found this in the room.
How much is it?
$850.
Where'd you get this?
Where'd you get this money, Paul? I pawned my motorcycle. Harley Davidson that he has. Pawned it for $850. You need money to get out of town, Paul? No response. He starts to talk to us, and then he decides he's going to invoke. He wants a lawyer.
You're under arrest for 2 counts of murder.
Hey, I had nothing to do with that. I was in the bathroom when those girls were killed.
You want to tell me about it?
Want my lawyer.
Do they need Paul's confession? Not necessarily.
A statement is icing on the cake, but you already have the cake.
Even without a confession from Paul Palachuk, Kenda has a good idea of how the crime went down.
I would suspect Felipe's first attempt is to get the money. And I would suspect her reply was, I don't have it.
Do I need to tell you how we handle problems?
After the argument, Felipe and Paul hatch a more vicious plan.
Let's just go home.
Yes.
Start over tomorrow, okay?
I'm tired.
Me too.
It's crowded in there.
They approach the car, the girls roll the windows down because they know him, they know both of them.
Seriously, what is your problem?
And what happens next? There is no discussion. There is gunfire.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I told you.
Bang, 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 bang. That's what they want.
Paul Palachuk is convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and is sentenced to life in prison. But the case is far from closed.
Investigators tried to locate Felipe, and through the course of the investigation, it was found that he probably had taken off and returned back to Mexico. If he were to return back to the United States, he would be arrested. There is no statute of limitations for murder.
As for the third victim, Sherry Holmes, the Elbert County Sheriff's Office finds no connection to Felipe Avila Ortiz and Paul Palachuk. But there's more to the story.
These 2 cases were quite related, not in the way anybody ever would have figured.
The man ultimately charged with the murder of Sherry Holmes turns out to be someone Kenda had suspected in the double homicide at the Lair Lounge.
Gino Yaquez, who is the boyfriend of Shirley, is the architect of the murder of Sherry Holmes.
Gino, who was so eager to help police solve Shirley's murder, was simultaneously trying to cover his own tracks.
If you recall, I said when Gino got out of that van, he had the look. Elbert County says, I was right about that. He had more than the look. He had the willingness.
Rumor has it that Gino Yaquez is a mid-level drug dealer on the West Side, and Sherry Holmes was one of his clients.
He began to get worried because there started to be some feedback to him that she was talking to the sheriff's departments out there.
They decide they're going to kill this girl, and he assigns one of his minions to carry out the task, who in fact takes this girl by force out to Elbert County, kills her, covers her in peanut butter in the hope that carnivores will drag her off into the sunset.
With the final pieces of the puzzle in place, Gino and his henchman, James Moss, are convicted of murdering Sherry Holmes.
Are these crimes connected? No, they're not connected. Are these people connected? Absolutely they're connected by their common interest in the sale, distribution, and consumption of illegal drugs.
I wished we would have had more time together with Mickey. I wished I could see her. I wished I could hug her and tell her how important she was to us.
Tell your children every day that you love them, because we don't know from one day to the next what's going to happen. I don't care how old they are, always let them know you care about them.
I think my mom was ashamed of her drug addiction. We learned a little while after her death that she had went and talked to our pastor, and they spoke for a while, and she ended up giving her life to the Lord.
Shirley made plans to leave town and enter a drug rehab program. But in a tragic twist of fate, she was murdered the day before her flight.
If she would have made the plane ticket for 3 days earlier, and it's tough to say, but my daughters might still have their mom, and you know, the world might still have Shirley, because she was really a fantastic person before that damn drug got a hold of her.
Lives wasted, just wasted. Shirley is trying to get back to where she was when she was a mother of 2. Michelle is just trying to do the right thing. Look out for her friend. And they both die in a hail of bullets behind a bar at age 30 and 29. They would have had a lot of life in front of them. Not anymore.